This video is going to be for those people out there, you might be new to FPV or you just want something a little bit different. You can fly around, not upset some people, but still have a full-fledged FPV fun flight experience. Well, stay tuned because this is for you. G'day, Stu from UAVfutures here, and today, well, we're going to be looking at the EMAX Tinyhawk race and essentially what this bad boy is. It is the EMAX Tinyhawk 2. They've revamped it, put on a carbon frame, and I really, got to be honest, didn't really appreciate what they've done with the Tinyhawk 2. It wasn't my type of drone. I didn't feel like it was good as the Tinyhawk 1, and I wasn't that impressed when I took this out of the box. I was like, okay, it looks fairly similar. I'm not too excited, but I have to say, since going out and flying this thing, putting a heap of packs through it, this is one of the most fun drones I think people can have, especially if you're a beginner. You're not after crazy power. You don't need to be doing ridiculous acro. All you want is a reliable craft that's going to fly well and be plenty of fun. Well, the efficiency of this thing means you are going to have flight times for days. So what we're going to do, we're going to break it down. We're going to look at the text and the specs. We're going to go out to the field. I'm going to show you some of my DVR. We're going to hand it over to some of the other pilots as well, see what they think about the EMAX Tinyhawk race or the EMAX, whatever. I'm getting confused with the name. Tinyhawk Race 2, whatever this bad boy is, it's linked down below, but the new quad from EMAX, we'll put it through its paces and see what they think. And I really got to say, I think a lot of people are going to be enjoying this. So anyway, let's do it. As a bit of an overview, let's get this in the roof shot here. This little bad boy, the Tinyhawk 2 race, is essentially the Tinyhawk 2 just put on a carbon frame. So some of the things that are the same, some things that are different, really it is this little frame right here. It gives it more rigidity, and I say the flight times on here are absolutely so much better now they've moved away from that plastic. I don't know what was happening with that other plastic one. I really wasn't impressed, but this frame right here, you're going to be having tons of fun. So let me get a little chopstick. We're going to start at the outside in. And I'll also find my scales wherever they're gone. Bear with me. Well, actually, I think my wife might have stolen my scales. I'll put it on the screen anyway, how heavy this thing is. It feels very light. If you're worried about weight limits, anything like this thing is going to be well and truly under your weight limits if you've got some regulations in your country. It runs on two 1S batteries. You've got two little connectors on the back here. This is where you hook up your 1S LiPo batteries, two of them together. And I've got to say, the flight time is by far the most impressive thing about this drone. It handles well everything, but you can just get absolute flight time for days. You're going to be having a lot of fun FPV experiences. So starting at the outside in, let's go through some of the components. And of course, we've just got our standard little EMAX Tinyhawk props on the outside, little tri-blades. Underneath that, we have some 1108 motors. They're 7,500 kV, and it has, I would say, the perfect amount of pop. It's not absolutely outstanding, but you get extreme efficiency with the combo that they've got going here. It is all about flight time and having fun, and it is very, very stable as well. It's tuned nicely in the air with that motor prop combo. Moving towards the middle, of course, we've just got a 4-in-1 ESC. It's BL S, nothing too special there. It's an F4, it's got an OSD on the screen. So if you don't know what all those mean, essentially, just think it flies really well, it's got the right software and everything in here, and you don't really need much more, especially if you're a beginner. Towards the top, what we do have is something a little bit special. We've got our RunCam Nano 2, a little micro camera we've got in there, and the FPV footage is very, very clear. And of course, a little VTX on the top as well, which you can change. It's all got smart audio, all that sort of stuff. One part, it's got an inbuilt receiver as well, which works with FreeSky, and most of the time, I feel like that is one area where you can get a little bit better range. So if this just had an easy option, maybe if you could buy the Binance Flyers with like a TBS Nano or something like that, you're gonna be having a little bit further range, because I feel like that is one place where some of these onboard inbuilt receivers can let the quads down a little bit. It is in the actual radio range. Not so much the video range, but the radio range when you're flying out. We did get a few low telemetry warnings cruising this bad boy around. Now, if I move on, let's talk about the design of the thing. Some things that are a little bit special that I like about this one, and also some things that I'm not the biggest fan of. Number one, we have the carbon frame on the bottom. So they've chosen to go with a carbon frame. I guess it's chasing the toothpick style of craze that everybody's been mad about. And I've got to say, it works. In this setup, with these components, it works very well. You get great flight times, great stability, and it feels good on the sticks. The tune is great. Everything seems to be working well together in this little craft. Much better than the plastic version that they had about a couple of months ago. The other part though in the design, this canopy on the top, so you can adjust the canopy with this little screw here, and I still don't know how I feel about that, because if you land this on a hard surface, it's simply going to move, it's going to bounce back and forth, and really your camera angle can be changing all the time. So this canopy, it's good, you can adjust it, but it's also not my favorite. I think I do prefer a standard locked-in version. Oh, something just fell over. Or at least a version where you had something where it could lock it in place more than just these two little screws on the side. If moving on, let's talk about the quality of the thing. And I got to say, I have checked out their factories where these things are made, where EMAX does all their production and design, all that sort of stuff, and they are absolutely top-notch. And they have been making so many drones for so long, they really know what they're doing. When you get a product from EMAX, generally you can take it out of the box and you expect good things to happen, and it is no different with this. So I'm going to say about a 9 out of 10 in terms of quality, and especially when you look at the price as well. So that brings us on to the pros and the cons. Pros, it is a cheap, reliable drone people are going to have a lot of fun with. It flies really well, it is robust, I really like the frame, the PIDs are tuned in, it feels great on the sticks, and also you've got a nice camera in here, and the big one for me, the flight time. You are going to be having so much fun, the flight times for days, it just keeps going and going and going. So if you've seen some of those flight videos of those racing drones, you think you get about 90 seconds, we are talking 5 minutes plus flying this thing around. It is extremely efficient. Now, things I don't like. Number one, I am on the fence. I'm not saying I don't like it, but I'm on the fence about the canopy and how you can adjust it. I'm not, you know, just, it's a bit hit and miss for me. And the other thing I don't like is I wish it was sold with some other buy and fly options. I don't think it is. I'll put some links down below anyway, but I am pretty sure that you can only get it with the FreeSky versions, and that results in sometimes some subpar range. It's not like you want to do long range with this anyway, but it would be nice to have that option if you wanted to, because it does have a lot of flight times. And also, don't be buying this if you're expecting some absolutely crazy, flat out insanity speeds, because that's not what this is about. It is just about cruising around, having fun, exploring the world, enjoying FPV in a fun, reliable form that lasts for ages, and you can get heaps of flight time under your belt. So look, that's it on the bench. That's the boring stuff out of the way. Let's go out to the field to show you my impressions, also show you what GT, Grumpy Trev, thinks about it as well, so you can make up your mind and find out, is this the little craft that you want to fly, and just how much fun can it be. So let's do it. Go have some fun with the EMAX Tinyhawk 2 race in 3, 2, 1. Radio out here in the field. Let's do it a little bit later, but the EMAX Tinyhawk, the little carbon version, we're going to rip it around on this absolutely glorious day. And then we got the old man himself, GT, behind the camera. We'll rip it around, have some fun, show you some DVR, and find out just how this little bad boy goes. All right, let's do it. Rightio, here we go with the EMAX Tinyhawk race, and overall we're going to talk about a few things, but I want to say the first thing, EMAX, the race, calling it race, I don't know if that's how I feel about this drone. I don't feel like this is a racing drone. Don't buy this if you think you want to get into FPV racing per se. That's really made for 5 inches. This, although it's got race in the name, that's not where it's at, but where it doesn't make up for in the speed, because it doesn't have the most insane amount of pop. I'm going to say this is one of the best beginner drones on the market. Why? Well, the reason is quite simple. It is fun to fly. It is easy to fly. It looks great in the FPV feed in terms of the colors and things like that, but also the main one, you get flight time for days. This thing feels extremely efficient, and the other huge plus of this one, you can basically fly this anywhere. If you've got a little small space outdoors, you can fly this around, whether it be a small park, a small little playground, or something like that. This one is going to be more than enough for most people, but also it doesn't make a whole heap of noise. So if you've got people like dog walkers around, if you've got people who get a little bit narky because, you know, you might be making too much noise with drones, a beauty about this one, it is so quiet, and you'll see that in some of the footage too when we're flying around and I'm filming Grumpy Trev. When you see this quad going around in the background, it is like a whisper. You can barely hear it, and it's one of the most quiet drones I've ever flown. So if you're worried about upsetting people, or there's people around where you're going to be flying something like this, they're not going to be too concerned. It's really not very obnoxious whatsoever. Kind of like a little bit of a stealth sleeper drone. Now, if we talk about the actual performance, so speed, I'm going to say 6 out of 10. Stability, I think it's right up there. It's very easy to control on the sticks, out of the box. It feels great. It is responsive. The only part that really lets it down is probably the inbuilt receiver. I wish it had a little bit more range, and sometimes the VTX can be a little bit wishy-washy. But all in all, I think over this quad is going to suit a lot of people, but mainly aimed at beginners. If you want to have some fun flying this thing around and even do a little bit of freestyle, I don't really think you can go past this one. And I got to say, I didn't think I was going to like it, but it turns out it was a lot better than I expected. There I am trying to do an inverted yaw spin, just not doing it very well. But what we should do, let's hand it over to GT, and you can also check out the flight times too. So we'll do a few cuts in his video, and you can see just how long he's flying around for, because it just keeps going and going and going and going. An extremely efficient quad. So let's hand it over to GT in 3, 2, 1, boop! All right, you grumpy bugger. We're out in the field today, the Tinyhawk race. It's about $115. So first impressions, and then we're going to take it for a rip around and see what you think.
Well, it's definitely tiny. It's really freaking tiny.
Yeah,
look at that. Look, that's very impressive size.
What did it look like in the air when you saw me flying it?
It looked pretty good. I was actually pretty surprised how well it looked and how quick it was. So for something this size, it looks well. It looked as if it flew as good as it looks.
You should be pretty good with tiny things in your hands anyway. So we'll see.
Yeah,
how
well,
this goes, Trevor.
Good point.
Okay, you ready to put it back in?
Yeah, let's
do it.
Get going. Take 3. Oh yes, look at that. Oh, wow.
Oh, I better start my DVR, hey? That might help.
Yeah. That's all right.
Now.
Pretty quick for what it is. Actually, you didn't think it was quick. I reckon this is all right.
Yep. Is it wobbling around or anything like that? What
No, it's the tune is really good. Gee, it stays where you put it. Like the stick input, it just stays there.
All right, talk to me, Trevor. What do you think? It's $115 last time I checked on Amazon. It might be cheaper, more expensive, different places.
Well,
it's got an adjustable canopy this time.
$115. Look, this thing, if this is all you could fly, there'd be nothing wrong with that. $115, I think it's a steal.
All right, who would you recommend it for, and who would you not recommend it for?
Well, no, look, it's not an indoor one, so anyone that probably lives in the city that hasn't got many places to fly, this would be really good because you're not going to annoy anybody. You can hardly hear it. Like, I'll fly over the top of us, you might not even hear it.
Come to a, I don't know if that's coming through on the mic that's here.
Yeah, well, I'll fly right past us.
Okay.
It's really nice to fly.
What about, would you recommend a sim before this?
Oh, definitely, always. You had a sim, you fly anything, really. The sims are so good these days. This thing is cool.
How's your flight time actually? I'm going to look on the...
where are we?
3 minutes and you're still at 7 volts.
Yeah. Like, that's another good thing about this, the flight time.
I reckon we...
this. I can't say that, can I? No.
Yeah, you can.
Beep, yeah, right. This is...
Why do you say
I haven't flown anything this long. I mean, sex doesn't even last this long.
Trevor.
This is...
do you want to just run this into the ground and see what happens? Like, just keep going?
Yeah, why not?
Why not? Because they're my batteries, but yeah.
Like, I'm not pushing it. I mean, it's just nice to fly. I'll see if I can do a loop. Oh, land now, it says.
Oh, you can fly for a bit more, man.
You're
that's... Still back up at 7 volts.
The response on this thing is... that's...
You get any video breakup or anything?
Well, I'm right at the back here, just a little bit. I'm getting
an RF warning.
RF warning first,
radio.
But that's still acceptable how far it went. This is fun to fly. I reckon anyone could fly this.
Okay. So beginner friendly?
Yeah, definitely. This is friendly for everyone. This is what you want in a little park, and if you hit someone, all it's going to do is bounce off them. They'll abuse you and probably stomp on the quad, but it's really, really nice to fly.
Too easy. All right, I'll let you bring it in, or you want to keep going, mate?
Oh, just look.
Right, after 5 minutes, come on, you got to bring it in after 5.
After 5. It says, where are we
You're
here?
in 4 minutes 51.
4 minutes 51, all right. Still got plenty of punch, even on a flat battery.
It is very efficient, I'll give it that.
Yeah. I tell you what, I could fly one of these all day.
6.8. That's ridiculous.
It's not the fastest thing. I'm on 5 minutes now. Look, I'll come in because I don't really want to destroy your batteries.
Well, they're only cheap 1S batteries too. Like they're in.
Even slow, it's easy to fly.
Right.
Oops, treat.
See if you can land on the swing.
It's a bit harder to see when you're going slow because it's...
Go on, pitch forwards, bro.
Yeah, but it's going to be able to see. Here we go.
Yeah, old man. Do you want me to disarm?
Oh, no, it's all right. I'll be... When am I landing?
On the swing. On the swing set. I'll hit the disarm.
Oh,
you got
how's that? Yes. Perfect.
All right, I'll unplug and get you fired. Right, Trev,
Well,
final thoughts, Tinyhawk race, and we had over a 5-minute flight time.
Well,
what did you think?
I reckon this is a little rip snorter. It's really good. It's fact.
All right, performance out of 10. What would you say for performance?
Look, performance, give it about a 9.
Okay.
But it was fast, but not that fast. But it was all right.
All right, and what about value for about 115, 120 bucks?
Well, I reckon it's pretty good value. Does it come with batteries?
Yes. I think it comes with 2 batteries.
Yeah, well, 2 batteries. It's going to save you $5 a battery or better. But yeah, look. I'll give it 9 for price as well.
Dirty.
It's so small. I mean, you could fit that up. You could
put it in your pocket.
Yeah,
That's
put it in your
about
pocket.
to say.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
All right. Thanks, Trev. Radio, so there it is. There's my review of the EMAX Tinyhawk 2 race, and overall I've got to say I actually really like this craft significantly more than I liked the original one before they put it on the carbon frame. I don't know what it is and the little upgrades and everything that's come through with this one, but I feel like it is such a better craft for people out there. The flight time is outstanding because it runs on a bigger battery as well than that one. It is much better suited with the power to weight ratio, all that sort of stuff, and it just feels great to fly. So if you are in the market for a craft that it's probably going to be more suited to beginners. Don't expect some insane speeds, but if you're in the market for a fun, reliable craft that is absolutely not invasive to people, so it is extremely quiet, it's not going to upset people. You might have a small park you want to fly around. Nobody's going to be scared of this thing. It is very, very quiet. Even on a full throttle punch out, you can barely hear it. So mums, dog walkers, all those sort of people walking their kids around in the park, they're not going to be too upset for this. So if you're in a small place with a lot of people, or you just want something that's fun to fly around in a little area, this is going to be right up your alley. I'm going to put the link down below and let me know, or what do you think about this? What do you think this compared to the old version? What experiences with EMAX have you had in the past? The good, the bad, let me know, all that sort of stuff down below in the comments. I would be very interested to see. Other than that, subscribe for more FPV related content, and as always, happy flying.